Hi, this is the real Marty Levinson at large. Welcome to Avi Meyers and Sonny Hersh's 50th Ward runoff special. Good luck, Bernie!
Hey, Marty! Marty is the man. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Glad you joined us. Special thanks to Sonny Hersh, my producer, as well as Keith McDonald, our overall do-everything person, and a special, extra special hi to my co-host today, Jim Nally. Jim, how you doing?
Great to be here, Avi. Good way to start a Sunday morning.
My pleasure all the way. And, hey, we're here to cut through the red tape, let you guys know all about the election. And our guest today, our first guest is going to be Alderman Berny Stone, and he'll be followed by Alderman Joe Moore of the 49th Ward, then Bob Fioretti, challenger in the 2nd Ward, and finally Don Gordon, who is the challenger for Joe Moore in the 49th Ward. I want to say a special hello to Stacy, who has urged me to please look at the camera. Actually, Sonny and I have it set up. There's a sign that says, Avi, look here. And I'm going to try real hard to sit still, Stace, and concentrate. So, Jim, this is really, exciting. We haven't had a runoff in the 50th Ward in 34 years.
Well, there are 12 runoffs throughout the city, which is the most since 1991. So when you think about it, with a 50-member city council, this is huge. I mean, there's still a huge percentage of the seats at stake.
That's a quarter of the council, just about.
Just about, yeah. And these are all obviously close races, and they've generated a lot of interest, and we're fortunate that we're going to be able to focus on 2 or 3 of the really hot ones today.
Oh, no question about it. And there's all sorts of predictions going on in terms of who's going to win. I know the 49th they're saying is real tight. The 50th is much closer than I would have thought, but who knows what's going to be. Matter of fact, on Chicago Tonight Week in Review, their political expert basically thought that Stone was a winner outright. And I hope he's right, because frankly, as the literature says, he's earned my vote. You know, it was interesting, the literature that came out the week before the election, actually came to my house yesterday. We're doing this live Sunday. For those of you who don't know, this is going to be on the web later today. It's going to be rerun at 9 p.m. tonight on CanTV 19, and it's going to be rerun again Monday at 4 p.m. at CanTV 19. So basically there's 2 pieces. Nazy Dolar came out with the piece that basically says, hey, Eric Berkowitz endorsed me. And Stone's piece has a really thoughtful letter from Mayor Daley. It's got congressmen, unions, the state treasurer, state senators, state reps, county commissioners, unions, the whole shot. So I think Nazy's trying to make a last-minute foray into the Jewish community, which he hasn't been able to get into. And Stone is showing an overall positive piece, and he's run a very positive campaign in general.
Yeah, he has, and which is good, because some of these races, for instance, the 2nd Ward, we're going to be talking to Bob Fioretti later. That turned into a very nasty, personality-driven race, which these shouldn't be. It shouldn't be about trying to make the other person look bad. In this runoff, you should be telling people why they should be voting for you and what you're going to do if you're elected, the positive things you're going to be doing. And if you're an incumbent, run on your record and talk about the good things you've done.
I agree with you. As a matter of fact, I do think that Nazy's negativity, I think, has hurt her. I think she actually probably peaked a week or 2 ago. And I think she's sliding a little down as we're coming into the election, because she's rattled the same points over and over and over, and people are starting to see through them a bit.
Well, you know, I think, Avi, for so long, this negative campaigning has been popular on a national level, and it's permeated down to the local races as well. But I think we're kind of at a turning point. I think people are tired of this negativity. They're tired about people coming on and not saying how qualified they are, but knocking their opponent. And people really want to know, you know, I don't care about what you think about the other candidate. What are you going to do? What do you bring to the table in terms of your skills and your ideas? And I think that's turning on a national level, and I think we're starting to see that in these races here.
I don't think there's any question about it. Matter of fact, 2 of the positive things that happened for Alderman Stone this week is that they had a big rally Tuesday at the Croatian Cultural Center for the Indians and Pakistanis. There were 500 Indians and Pakistanis packing the place for Alderman Stone and the mayor, in which he strongly showed his support of Bernie Stone. And then Thursday there was an open forum for whoever wanted to show up. And actually, Stone didn't bring his precinct captains or anybody else. There were some Dolar people there, and there were a few people standing outside passing out "We Hate Bernie" stuff, and Bernie's lying, and Bernie's this, and Bernie's that. But Stone, it started a little after 7. Dolar didn't show up. the questions were straight from the audience, including the Dolar people and some of the people that really, obviously, I know from the neighborhood, aren't Stone's biggest fans. He stayed till about 8:35 answering every single question from the audience. Anybody who wanted to ask a question, he was there to answer. He answered it very straightforward. And that's one of the things I've always admired about Alderman Stone is whether he agrees with you or not, or whether he doesn't sugarcoat things. You know, somebody wanted to know about his lawn, and he told them outright, you know, what the story is. Like, you know, if the neighbors, if it gets past a certain point, you know, forget it.
Well, one thing that I think you hit at, you know, in terms of Bernie Stone, you always know where he stands. He's not one that's going to sugarcoat things. He's, as you said, he takes a position and then makes his position, and you got to respect that. I haven't always agreed with him. You probably haven't always agreed with him.
No, you know
on
yourself.
issues.
I worked against him 3 times. I was even a campaign manager against him once.
But you know, one thing you got to give him is the courage of his convictions, in that when he takes a position, that's his position, and you know, like it or not, he's not trying to tell somebody one thing and then go and see another audience and tell them something different.
As a matter of fact, if anything, it's the fact that when I did go against him, it was seeing the way he acted when I was on the opposite side that really earned my respect. And he's earned my respect all the way. And speaking of someone who's earned my respect, not to mention most likely earned my vote, come Tuesday, we are privileged and pleasured, I didn't say that right, to have the current alderman of the 50th Ward, Alderman Berny Stone. How are you, Alderman?
I'm fine. How are you, Avi? And hi, Jimmy.
How are you, Alderman? Good morning.
Good, thank you. Good morning to both of you.
How does so we're here the Sunday live before the Tuesday election. How do things look?
You never know until the votes are counted, but I think everything is going well.
What do you do? There's 48 hours to go. What do you do the last 48 hours to let people to get more votes and make sure people come out and vote for you?
Well, this morning we'll be giving a charge to all the workers and trying to make sure they get all the votes out, and then from there I'm going to the Holocaust affair in Skokie, and then on to a coffee tonight, and then doing another radio show this evening, and I got another coffee scheduled for tomorrow night, and then Election Day.
Election Day should be exciting, and you usually visit all the different precincts throughout the ward.
I don't know if I'm going to do it this time, however. I'm going to leave that up to the captains. They got work to do, and I don't know if I'm going to disturb them.
Okay, no, the work is definitely the most important. And are there any early voting that sometimes said Tuesday?
We led the city. We led the city both in early voting and in absentee ballots. And quite frankly, I think I have the vast majority of both in both categories.
Well, I do know, as a matter of fact, that people supporting you were actually chartering buses downtown to register and to vote.
Yes, correct. And I think we've done a good job in both categories. My people were charged to make sure that anybody who was going to be out of town either voted early or got an application for an absentee ballot. This is probably the most memorable of all my campaigns, but I've got to say that this will not be a sweet victory because how do you get your reputation back? My reputation has been smeared, sullied, and no matter, even in victory, I can't get my reputation back because through lies and half-truths and all kinds of distortions, my reputation has been, to a certain extent, ruined. And so it's not going to be a happy victory.
You know, Bernie, Avi and I were talking before you came on about the idea that maybe this negative campaigning that has been around for so long now on the national and local level, maybe it's finally gotten to the point where people are tired of it. Are you getting any feeling like that?
Yes, I am, but in the meantime, there's a certain percentage of the population that has bought into it, and I have had a spotless reputation up until this point, and quite frankly, there's a certain percentage of the people who are always willing to accept the worst of everybody. They say all politicians are crooks, or where there's smoke, there's fire, and I've never had my reputation questioned as I have in this election. And this election has been by far the worst election I've ever been involved in. And I've been in politics for 55 years, and this has been by far the worst election and by far the worst opponent I've ever faced.
Well, Bernie, one of the things I know you've done is you haven't gotten into that name calling, and I know you've been accentuating the positive things that you've done. I know you had a piece come out that I've heard a lot about, where you've basically taken a ward map and shown various locations throughout the ward, all the various projects that you've accomplished.
Well, that was only over the last couple of years. I couldn't do it over the 34 years I've served because the map would be absolutely completely covered. But all of that is the SEIU sent out something like 20-some pieces. How do you combat something like that? And her pieces, piece after piece after piece that she sent out said I lied, or I did this, or I did that. And that I haven't done anything, or the piece that allegedly showed me sleeping, and that I don't do anything. How do you combat stuff like that?
Well, I think the way you have is you've been showing the accomplishments that you've done over the last several years, and you got to show people right in their backyard what's been accomplished for them.
Yeah, you can do that, but there's still X number of people that are willing to accept the worst, and I can't change that, and I no matter how many people who know you and know how hard you work and know that, for instance, that your office is open 2 nights a week, and know that you're down in City Hall every single day, and you're the first one down there, and know how many hours a day you put in. No matter how many people know that, there's still others who are willing to say that you're a crook and you're a thief and you don't do a damn thing, and that you favor your relatives, and so it doesn't make any difference. There's always a certain percentage of people that are willing to believe the worst.
One of the things I will say, at least over here at CAN TV, where you're frankly the hero, because when their funding was a problem and it was in question, you're the person that stood up above all others in City Council, even against a reluctance by the mayor who supported it to do much about it, and you turned the day for CAN TV, and CAN TV very well might not be on the air right now if it wasn't for you.
And would the kids be playing ball at Fillon's if it weren't for Terry O'Brien and me? Or would the Municipal Reference Library be in existence if it wasn't for Bert Materis and I? There's so many other things that I could point to. Would Chicago have led the nation in welcoming home the Vietnam veterans? There's so many things that I'm so proud of that I did over the 34 years that I've been alderman. In the meantime, what are they going to remember? That's and that she had the guts to question what's my legacy. That's what bothers me, and that's in talking about a campaign, it's the negativity that bothers me. And that this has been a terrible campaign. It's the old story. There's no honor. Supposedly, there's no honor among thieves. Well, that for sure is. There's no honor here.
Well, at least I'll do my best on this side to make sure that people know the good things you're doing, and I hope that over the next dozen or so years, when you're still alderman, we'll try to have you on repeatedly and let people know about all these great accomplishments. And not just what you've done, but what's coming. And there's a lot that's coming in the very near future that you've got planned.
But can you imagine all the good people that have been misled by a candidate? Look at I haven't gone to the negatives. But here's a candidate that had no background in the ward other than the fact that she served on an LSC for less than a year, has absolutely no background in the ward. She's been able to mislead both metropolitan newspapers. Here I was backing the police for 34 years, and the Fraternal Order of Police back her because her husband's a police officer. How about the other people that she's been able to delude? I can't believe how many people she's been able to fool. And what are the gratifying points? The gratifying point is that even though she's an Asian and has been able to secure the backing of Asians outside the 50th Ward, at least the Asians in the 50th Ward haven't forgotten who's been their friend for so many years, and the Asians within the 50th Ward are giving me their full backing. That I'm gratified by.
Well, there's no question. The fact is that Rally Tuesday, where 500 Indians and Pakistanis...
That was an extremely gratifying evening, and their support has been overwhelming. The support within the Orthodox Jewish community has been overwhelming. There's so many things that have been overwhelming. The support from so many of my friends within the city council has been overwhelming. The very fact that some of my colleagues on the city council have personally come out to my ward and have personally walked the precincts on my behalf has been overwhelming.
And
those are things that you don't forget, and I won't forget it. So even though there's been a lot of negative things in this campaign, there are a lot of things that I'll never forget, and those are things that I won't forget.
And Bernie, I was thinking about you're talking about your legacy. I know several years ago you were really leading the way in looking into the idea of a World's Fair here in Chicago. And I couldn't help but think of you yesterday when I saw the announcement that Chicago would be designated as the United States city for the Olympic in 2016. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact. See, in the case of the World's Fair, I wasn't too sold on that because I thought the World's Fair would bankrupt the city, and as it turned out, I was right. But in the case of the Olympics, there are so many residuals that the Olympics will bring. I was an absolute supporter of the Olympics, and I was so delighted when we got won the award. And now I'll be in the next coming couple of years, I'm going to be a real supporter of the mayor and the bid to get the world support from the World Organization, because I think that'll be great to have the 2016 Olympics here in Chicago. What a coup, and I really look forward to that. Even if it costs us some money, it's going to be well worth it, because the Olympics will leave residual, which the World's Fair would have not left us no residuals. In fact, we would have to have not only tore up the city to build the World's Fair, we'd have to spend all the money to put it back to where it was, whereas the Olympics will leave residuals.
Any chance of getting any events at Warren Park?
No, I don't think so. Actually, I really wouldn't seek it. There are going to be some events up on the north suburbs. I think some of the rowing events and some of the archery events are going to be up in the north suburbs. And frankly, I'm not looking forward to any events on the north side, because with the events come a lot of traffic and other problems that we could do without. We're a residential area. We don't need all that traffic.
No, that's definitely true. But I like your point too, because it was so. I saw on the internet afterwards. I was able to see the film. Daley was so happy, and the buildings that'll be left in the city and the venues and all that. That'll be a big boon. Not to mention construction and the positive attitude that will lead people also.
Do you have any idea how much affordable housing will result out of the Olympics in the 4th and 5th Ward around Washington Park, the sports venues that'll be left, and out on the west side there'll be an Olympic-sized swimming pool, and there'll be a tremendous amount of residuals to the city. And that was what was lacking in the World's Fair plans.
And these are areas that really can use the development.
Absolutely.
Well, another thing not to be lost is there'll be a lot of good union jobs and a lot of work for people in constructing these facilities and managing them and staffing them during any Olympics that might take place here.
And afterwards, and ongoing afterwards.
And by the way, I should point out too, because of all the mailings, that all the construction unions and plumbing union and electrical union, they're all backing you.
Yeah, there's going to be tremendous results for the city as a result of the Olympics, and this has been a real boom for Chicago. And besides, now the rest of the world is going to find out just how beautiful Chicago is. And that was one of the things, incidentally, that some of the people who are on the committee, they hadn't realized how beautiful Chicago is. And now the rest of the world is going to realize how beautiful Chicago is.
And no question, we're a gorgeous city. And I want to remind people, by the way, that if you go later today to ntnm.org, www.ntnm.org, people will be able to rewatch this show later today that's being broadcast now live, as well as 9 p.m. tonight, Sunday night on CAN-TV 19, and 4 p.m. Monday on CAN-TV 19.
So if there's anybody that you know that hasn't been able to join us tonight, or we're going to be rerun on CAN-TV, or maybe doesn't have access to cable, send them the link, and they'll be able to watch and listen to Alderman Stone and our other guests before Election Day, and really get an opportunity to hear some positive things before the election.
And there's a lot of positive things to be said about Alderman Stone, and people need to appreciate that. By the way, the piece we were showing before you came on the air, I was showing the mailing I got yesterday, which I thought was a terrific mailing. That letter from Mayor Daley, that wasn't just a same letter written for all the candidates. That really showed how much he values your help.
Well, I appreciate what the mayor said about me, and I appreciate all those organizations that endorsed my candidacy. That was a nice mailing piece, and I appreciate all the things that Mike Noonan has brought on to the campaign as my campaign manager. That was one of the major mistakes I made on February 27th. I tried to manage the campaign and be the candidate too, and you can't do both. And I've corrected that now, and I think you're going to see the results of that correction next Tuesday. You're going to see an overwhelming victory for me on Tuesday.
Bernie, any ideas on turnout? Some people say in a runoff, turnout will fall down because you don't have the mayor's race and some of the marquee races.
Well, you know better than that, and the reason I say that is because of the fact that we had so many early voting and so many absentee votes. Right now in the box should be something like 3,000 votes.
Wow.
And with 3,000 votes in already, you can expect a fairly large turnout. We had 10,500 votes cast in the election. Now, 3,000 votes indicates about 1/3 of the total vote we had in February. So and now the latest predictions are of maybe a little rain on Tuesday, but it's still going to be temperatures in the high 50s or maybe low 60s, so that should still bring out a pretty good vote.
And give me a little time Monday to plant my vegetables.
Yeah. So you can do that this afternoon, Avi.
No, that I will, because I'm going to make sure tomorrow that all my friends and all the people I know in the 50th Ward are going to vote for you come Tuesday.
Well, we're going to have a lot of people out on the street this afternoon, too. And in any event, I think that the total amount of votes in on Tuesday will exceed the 10,500 that voted on February 27th. That's my guess, anyway.
You know better than me, but I'm looking forward to. I'm not a political prognosticator, but I've had the feeling that definitely that whatever momentum she might have had at some point is going away because all her negativity, and not just the negativity, but all she can hit is the same 4 or 5 points from the primary, and now there's nothing new in those pieces.
That's really not true, because what you do is when you start anew in a runoff, everybody starts at 0, so you can't figure the 28% she got in the on February, and anyway, what you've got to understand is a campaign has to reach a crescendo. I think she peaked much too soon. We try to time our campaign so that we're peaking right now, and I think we are peaking right now.
There's no question. I think a little over a week ago she hit her heights, and it's been dropping since. And even on her website, I checked her website last night. It says no matter what, it almost sounds like she's already conceding. It says that no matter what happens, she's claiming a victory in the campaign. It sounds like she's already making her excuses now for losing on Tuesday.
Well, I don't know. I sort of got the feeling that she's not running right now. She's running for a future time. But well, that's up to her.
That's true, and whatever time it's going to be, though, I'm definitely going to stand against her because I don't think she's definitely shown me her character, and it's something that I don't care for one bit.
Well, I had my say on that earlier. I do not consider this campaign to be, certainly of all the candidates I faced in the past, this has been the low light of all the campaigns I've been in.
And I'll give you credit for keeping a positive light in your pieces.
It's been hard. It's been hard, believe me. It's been hard to be positive in this campaign. The interference, particularly coming from SEIU, and that's really been the low blow because of the fact that I come from a labor background. You know, here I am, the son of a lifelong labor man who belonged to a local all his life. I worked my way through college. I went to college on a GI Bill. She never had to worry about that. She was the daughter of a doctor, and she's the labor candidate, and I'm the son of the bosses. I don't get that.
No, a lot here didn't make sense, but you know the spin doctor's going these days. I'm hoping that it'd be wonderful if that was a thing of the past. I'm hoping what Jim had to say about trends, he has some truth, but you're right. There's no question that some of the negativity is always going to stick around.
Well, in any event, guys, I'm going to have to say goodbye because I got a ward meeting to take care of, and I thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk to your audience, and thank you for all the nice things you said, and I wish you both well. On to Tuesday.
Well, I want to say, in the words of one of your pieces that I like very much, you've definitely earned my vote this Tuesday.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alderman. We thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing a victorious smile on your face Tuesday night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, it's a pleasure to have Alderman Bernard Stone. We like to call him Bernie, and he's always honest. There's always candor on his part.
Yeah, I was very interested to hear what he had to say about the Olympics because he did, when that World's Fair was an issue and people were talking about it, he was one of the people who studied it very closely and then said, you know what, I don't think this is going to work. I don't think it's a good idea. And to hear how positive he is about the Olympics as opposed to the World's Fair issue, I think is really interesting to me going forward. Because here's somebody who's made an analysis of bringing a big world event like that to the city, and he thinks this would be a very positive thing.
No question. And as chairman of the Buildings Committee, of course, he has a lot of experience in terms of knowing what's what and who's who in that. And by the way, Stacy, I'm still trying to look at the camera properly. Sonny, you too. I want to remind everybody that I want to thank our producer, Sonny Hersh. Keith McDonald, our technical staff, together with Sonny. We want to thank all of you, together with my co-host Jim Nally, and catch us